Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And today on the show, we've got our good friends, Alyssa and Stephanie. How are you doing today?
Great, thank you.
Doing really well, nice and cozy.
Yeah. So, first of all, thank you very much for coming on the show. We've got the subject of recovery. So, if we'll just give a really quick community/trigger warning that we are going to talk about substance use. We are going to talk about some things. You're going to see me get really doing it already, broken up, because we will probably talk about Danielle and all that. So I wanted to just put that warning out there, and you can skip a day if you need to, if you're a frantic fan of Every Damn Day. So let's jump into it. What the first question usually is would you guys mind telling us about yourselves and your projects you're working on?
Alyssa, go for it.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Alyssa Turcsak. I am 28 years old. I am from Iowa. I was born and raised in Iowa, moved to Lansing about 5 years ago. My significant other is working on his PhD at MSU, so I followed him here, even though I was like, never going to follow a man anywhere. I fell in love, and so here we are. I am starting a new job at LCC in about a week, and I'm very excited about that. LCC, Lansing Community College. And I am really excited to be an advocate for mental health and trying in whatever small way I can to reduce the stigma around addiction.
All right. Thank you, Alyssa.
And I'm Stephanie Fox. I am 38, and I moved to Michigan initially in '92. I was 10, and kind of bounced around the country for a couple times. And yeah, I graduated in Grand Ledge, and right now I'm going to Lansing Community College to continue my education and finally get my degree.
All right. Well, thank you for that. So let's jump into Refuge Recovery. Why don't you, can we start with maybe defining it or something like that?
Refuge Recovery is a community of people who are using the Buddhist practices to recover from process addictions and substance abuse disorders. So it could be anything. It could be relationships with food, with people, with drugs, with alcohol, anything that really is sort of a response to suffering or anything else. Yeah, that's Refuge Recovery.
All right. And why don't you tell me, Alyssa, maybe how the Refuge Recovery Lansing got started, and then how it got handed off to Stephanie.
Yeah, definitely. I myself am a person living in recovery, and I had a really toxic relationship with alcohol that manifested into a treatment. I needed to get help, so I went to a treatment facility, inpatient at Brighton Center for Recovery, which is in Brighton, Michigan. And this was my first attempt at recovery, because something that you may or may not know is people in recovery often have multiple attempts before they're able to secure their recovery. And so this was at the very start of my journey. And then I think it was in 2018 or maybe a little bit before that, I had gone to Brighton, and I learned about Refuge Recovery while I was there, because they had a book in their gift shop that was the Refuge Recovery book. And I picked it up and I started reading it, and I just really appreciated the mindfulness component and a lot of the Buddhist practices of compassion, and I felt a strong connection to this program as opposed to other programs that I had tried, which were great in their own right, just wasn't exactly the right fit for me. And so Refuge Recovery was really appealing. I went to their website because they are a national organization, and I saw that the closest one was, I believe, about in Midland, might have been the closest one, Midland, Michigan. And by the way, Midland, Michigan Refuge Recovery was so helpful in getting started and giving me tips as I was starting. They were amazing. So I knew I wanted to do this, and I was the type of person who thought if I saved other people, I would save myself. And so I started trying to get Refuge Recovery going before I was actually in recovery. I was trying really hard to get my recovery while also trying to start this, because I thought if I could make this happen and help other people, then maybe that will be enough for me to feel like I deserve this too. Spoiler alert, it did not work out that way. I was able to, initially get it going, and I think I had posted it in a Facebook group. I think it was the Not Your Mother's Networking Facebook group about wanting to get this started, and somebody said, talk to Jerry at the Fledge, and this was the first time I had heard of the Fledge, and then we connected Jerry, and you said, of course you can use my space, you can use it for free, we would be so happy to support this. And this was before I knew of your personal connection to addiction, and I was just so impressed by the work that the Fledge was doing, and so grateful to have this space. So we held our first Refuge Recovery meeting there at the Fledge, and it started off very slow and humble and small, very intimate groups, but it was so special to sit in community and to look around the room, even if it was just myself and one other person or two other people. It was like, yeah, we get each other even though we've just met, because this is a journey that there are unspoken bonds when you go through something like this. I did not think I was going to get emotional, and so I just am really grateful that this was able to come to fruition thanks to your support, because it, I think from what I've witnessed now, just being a member of the group and hearing people's stories, it's just amazing how much the group has an impact on the community, and it saves people's lives just having community, because they say the opposite of addiction is connection. And so, having this form of connection in our own community is so important.
So you thanked me in there, and I just want to thank you too, because it's been such a symbiotic relationship, because I'm so proud to be associated. I was honored that you would ask us to do that, but it was our thing, man. The whole philosophy and the whole way that you all were approaching and looking at these meetings and this recovery. And it really, it always gives me a chance to sit next to my daughter when I get to be involved in something like that. So she's sitting here right now. So thank you. And I guess we should probably mention one other thing. You did have a milestone. Shouldn't we be saying yay about it?
Yes. Yeah. So it did take some time, after the group got going. I relapsed a couple of times, and relapsing is just going back to your drug or addiction of choice. And so I just kept going back, and I kept losing more in my life until I was finally able to get into a residential program in Lansing. I went to now I'm blanking. New Hope, there's a women's facility through Holy Cross. That's the word, not New Hope. Holy Cross Women's Shelter. There was one that they let me stay there for 30 days. And while I was there, I was able to be taught how to love myself again. And that was the thing that finally solidified it for me. Plus the support of groups like Refuge Recovery. I participate in a couple other groups as well that kind of help supplement my recovery. And but all of that to say, I did just have 1 year sober on Friday, and I am so woo. That's really cool. So yes, I am happy to share that, even though my vision of starting this group to secure my own recovery, which is kind of selfish when you think about it, I am happy to share now that I am able to show up and be present, and that is the most precious gift.
We're really proud of you. Really,
Thank you.
really proud of you.
Thank you.
So then it falls in your court, Stephanie.
Yeah, so I also had a toxic relationship with alcohol, among other things. Like, I think I'm probably not the only one who has multiple. I have one main addiction, but or that's the one I like always would fall back on. But mine was like a multi-tier approach. But I came to, I didn't want to, how do I say this? Other programs just I found weren't for me. I tried to do other things and like quote unquote fake it till you make it. And I just couldn't do it anymore. And I found out about Refuge Recovery. And I think I went to the Monday's meeting, and I think I remember doing some community service at the Fledge just beforehand, and just kind of hanging out until the meeting started. And I pretty much instantly had found my community. I think Alyssa was there at my first meeting. I'd got a bunch of, I'm like, is it okay if I take all these flyers so I can share this with other people and with my, counselors and with everything? And I just fell in love with it. And that was probably like I said, a year and a half ago-ish. So after that, I was going fairly consistently. We had 2 meetings at the time. We had the Monday meeting at the Fledge, and then we had a Friday meeting at Just Be Yoga, whose space was also lent to us, which was wonderful. But I found I needed more meetings, and I wasn't the only one that needed more meetings. So I proposed a 3rd meeting, and I think we had it at Crystal Ray Community Center. And it seemed like it was only a few weeks or a month later that everything was shut down, and everything has been Zoom ever since. So now we actually have, I believe, 6 meetings, because we have 4 meetings that are on Zoom, and then our fellow member James, who started Lifeboat in Lansing, he's holding in-person meetings on Sundays and Thursdays as well. So, well, both. Right now he's doing Zoom and in-person. So it's grown quite a bit in the last year. And we decided we needed to be more organized as a group. So the first Monday of every month, we have a business meeting, and we decided we needed to vote on a treasurer, on a representative or president, and on a secretary, and just to be more organized in our community. Nobody wanted to be president, so nobody wanted that. I don't know if it was the recognition or, that that title, I suppose, because we are all, I think Alyssa can attest, we are all fairly involved, and we all kind of help each other out. So just I don't feel like I'm the, anyone can say as much as I have about the program, certainly. But yeah, it's grown a lot.
So I solved that. I didn't want to be the president of the Fledge. I didn't want to be the CEO of the Fledge, though I am on some legal paperwork. Right. But I use the title primus inter pares, and it means first among equals. Oh. And to us, it represents the bird that's at the tip of the V. And when that bird gets tired, it falls back and someone else comes along. And so everybody is the primus inter pares when when they're there doing that role. But then they fall back and they're part of the community in other senses. So and a lot of boards and things do that same type of thing because they shift positions a lot to kind of take turns in leading. So anyways, that's a tangent that I didn't expect to go on. So, we should probably, there's some things with Refuge Recovery, like the very inclusive, right? And very accepting of people. So we don't, any views that we put out there, we want to make sure that, they're mine. My views are mine. I'm not representing Refuge Recovery. And you two, I just want to make sure that people know we're welcome. We don't have a political affiliation. You are welcome here. That stuff doesn't matter. This is something different, right? What's 2020? What was 2020? What was the shutdown? Because my biggest fear, you said it in the beginning, Alyssa, connection is the opposite of addiction. You take connection away, so not connection leads to that. And so what has the whole isolation been like for the substance use community in general?
Well, I can say for our small group, at first it was fairly daunting. Getting used to having Zoom meetings as opposed to meeting in person, feeling that loneliness. I think in substance abuse communities, we have this acronym CALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Those are things that you want to avoid because those will lead you right back to a place that we don't want to be. So the loneliness and the stress of everything and not knowing was hard. And we had to sort of reimagine what a community looked like for us. And right now it's mostly online. And just as if we would stand and talk after a meeting, we stay online after the meeting is over and ask about our personal, how was your day? What does your weekend look like? What are you struggling with right now? We are also building a mentorship program where we're going over what's called inventories with each other. In Refuge, there's 3 inventories that you just take inventory over your life and over your struggles and over your journey and path. And so right now we're doing that on a monthly and sometimes it's a weekly basis because there's a lot to go over. Everyone has a lot of baggage, it turns out. And myself is like, I have a ton, but I've got a lot to talk about. So we've been doing that. And I think that I can speak personally when I say that has helped me tremendously. Refuge as a whole, they say it's important to be involved in your community and be involved politically, whatever that means for you. And community is definitely important and is one of the pillars of Refuge. But I guess every community is different, and there's no official stance like you said, when it comes to political affiliation or anything like that. We're all inclusive and very accepting. And
yeah, I love that. And I mean, that was one, as Alyssa was telling me the very first time, I mean, we're radically inclusive. We say that all the time. It's a big motto of ours, and more than a motto, value. And, that was definitely exciting to me. I really love Refuge, and I'm going to come back to you in a second about the like a meeting and walking us through it. But I just want to give you one more shout out, Alyssa, because you hit your 1 year milestone during most of that time was in isolation, was in shutdown, was in one of the most difficult times for all of us. So again, I'm so proud of you. I mean, it's such a big accomplishment on its own, and then to lay COVID on top of it. And I say that to everybody. I don't know everybody's story and where they're at in their milestones, but man, please keep trying, keep going. We need you. You don't want to have to be telling a makeup story about your daughter sitting next to you. You know, it's we need you. Somebody needs you. A lot of people need you, probably. So.
I really admire how you share this idea of you have the Narcan kits available for folks, and you have these systems built through the pledge where it's you say you users, we love you. And I think that is so powerful and so important, because we have these ideas of what an addict looks like or what an alcoholic looks like, and there's like these stereotypes. And I think by what my hope for coming and talking with you is to reshape what people think that looks like, right? It's we have to end the stigma in order for people to feel comfortable and safe to come forward and get help. And I think even so, again, this is my own personal view and not that of Refuge Recovery, but I think even we have a lot of work to do in being more inclusive in our communities of recovery for people of color, because I think there is a lot of privilege in being able to go to a treatment facility as opposed to a jail, for example. And I have experienced some of these stories from my fellow members when I was in rehab or different things, where I'm thinking like, I feel so lucky that I have been able to go on this journey, but why am I sitting here at the table, and why is this person that I met in rehab not, right? What is the barrier to access for you to be part of this community? And so I'm always thinking about those things. I don't have answers. I'm always trying to learn more, but I think we still have a long way to go. And I do, yeah, I think that I will say that.
I think people, in the movies, you can watch a movie somewhere and somebody inevitably is going to an AA meeting or something. So people have a general sense of what an AA meeting kind of looks like. What happens at a Refuge Recovery meeting? Would you mind kind of going through the agenda, or maybe it's not even called an agenda? Sorry.
Well, it's kind of similar. And I would explain this. I had to go through the court system a few times, and so I'm familiar with, they want you to attend AA meetings specifically, or I also did one called Smart Recovery, but the meetings are fairly similar. We start the meeting with basically a preamble of what Refuge Recovery is, the 4 truths and actions, the 8-fold path, and basically the tenets of Refuge. And then we do a 20-minute guided group meditation, and then a reading from the book, short reading, and then we do a popcorn style or open discussion just about anybody that wants to go through what their day was, their struggles, what they have taken from the book or from the meditation, and then we end the meeting and with a dedication of merit. And it takes about an hour.
I've been in an AA meeting. I don't know. I guess when I saw what you all were doing, it just it took a lot of the what do I want to say? There's some things in other types of meetings that can be really triggering and can be really part of a problem that people are having in general. And that meditation, I learned a lot about, being in the moment and being available for people. And when you're on substances, you're not always available when you should be, or not really there for people. And that meditation part of it and practicing being in the moment was so helpful to me. I didn't do that at Refuge, but that is what helped me the most understand what my relationship was with alcohol as well. So I think that's so important. So important.
It really is. I wanted to also add, another thing that I think has been cool from the Refuge Recovery meetings is there will sometimes be, we've been trying to incorporate social activities as well. And some of our members, I think one of the coolest parts about being part of a group like this is seeing how each person has their own individual strength that they bring forward. And so, we have a member who is really excited and passionate about game nights and just socializing with people doing virtual game nights. And so we've been trying to build in these types of social activities too, to build upon that connection piece. And I think that's something that has been really impressive to me, and something I'm super grateful for as a person. Even I haven't been as involved in Refuge Recovery as recently. I would say on average I do a meeting a month, or whenever I need. And so that is just my current involvement. So more of this is, Stephanie is able to share on more things that are happening recently. But that is one thing I just wanted to give a shout out, that I'm like, yeah, I love this part of it. I'm verbalizing my intention to, participate in more game nights. And I think that's a component that is also really helpful. If you're watching this and you're like, I feel so alone, you are welcome to join our family.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have called them our gaming commission. That's our branch. But it has been such a source of joy in my life, where I was so miserable, even surrounded by people. I felt so alone for so long. And so now I'm coming on almost 2 years of sobriety, and I just from that first moment of Refuge, it became my refuge. I felt I'd come to a meeting and I'd be like, holy crap, this is the first time I've actually breathed today. This is the first time I actually took a deep breath, was in meditation, and got to clear my mind and just think about this path and share that. And that wasn't so important to me, that, gosh, there's other people. Here's Alyssa that is on this path with me. I don't have to be alone in this. And everyone's journey is so different and so very similar. It's amazing where you find family.
Yeah. So we're basically at the part of the show where I ask you about every damn day and something you do every damn day to push your needle forward. So however you want to answer that, whether that's a personal mission, a refuge recovery mission, what's something you do every damn day? I'll start with Stephanie, to push your mission forward, push the needle forward.
In my personal level, every damn day, I take a moment to breathe, and whether that be through a guided meditation or just to sit with my cup of coffee outside and just take a moment of inventory and a moment of like, all right, what now? Where am I? So I do that every day.
That's I need to do that every day too. I should probably do it before my show, and then I'd have a routine, and then it would work good. What about you, Alyssa?
Yeah, my thing that has been really helpful and throughout my recovery journey and has become more important the longer it's been since I've drank last is to find gratitude in every day. And so I am intentional about recognizing things that I am grateful for, whether it's watching the bird eat the bird seed outside, or I saw a little girl get a sticker from a fire person at a grocery store, and the look on her face, even with a mask on, those little moments, they are so important, and they make me feel as if my life is whole. And so I tried really hard to focus on the gratitude piece.
That's I love both of those answers, and that they that common theme of gratitude has really been coming up a lot in the last couple of weeks on the show. So that's amazing. And, I have to give a shout out to Ryan and Meg Miller, because Meg does our therapy Thursdays that we do in the mornings at the Fledge. Every Thursday we do therapy Thursday, and she runs the guided kind of breathing and meditation, and I look forward to it every week to just have that little bit of time where somebody's helping me recognize different ways to breathe, and it's amazing.
Those are some special humans. Shout out to them. Yeah. Yeah.
So yesterday on the show, I had a young man who's a MSU student, computer science student, but he took some time off to try to start a business. And these are his words, because I don't use these words, but it failed miserably. It was a plane crash, he said. And he wanted to tell the story of that. So we talked about that for a while. And then when it came to the part where he was passing a question to you, he wanted to know, is this a for-profit or a nonprofit, or how are you funded? And how do you look at how you're going to sustain your organization as it moves forward? Yeah.
Well, I can say that Refuge Recovery is a worldwide organization as a whole, and that is nonprofit organization. Funding, it's all donation based. So we get donations for our local members. Each group is responsible for its own financial obligations. So we just take donations and we use them to pay for books that we give out to new members, or for our Zoom account, or what have you. And then the rest goes to worldwide or world services. And that pays for social media presence, that pays for books, that pays for publication. And like I said, it's all nonprofit, donation-based community organization.
Yeah. So again, do you guys consider yourselves entrepreneurial?
I do not. I don't know about Alyssa, but I do not.
I think I like the idea of thinking about myself as an entrepreneur. However, I don't know if I am currently an entrepreneur.
Well, I think that here's my thought on it. You first of all, entrepreneur and capitalist pig aren't the same thing, right? So we'll put that out of the way. Or even capitalism, doesn't have to be part of the entrepreneurial journey. What I see as an entrepreneur is somebody who takes on a problem, they build a community behind the solution for that problem, and the community figures out with them how to fund that solution. So your description, Stephanie, of how it does work, and I'm not going to try to convince you that you're an entrepreneur, sorry, but I mean, that's very entrepreneurial. And, you know, being creative, being innovative, and finding ways to create a sustainable solution to a problem is what I see an entrepreneur is. And so in my opinion, I think you're both very entrepreneurial. And I just think you're amazing. And I'm so grateful again for you to come on the show and tell these stories. So tomorrow on the show, we have Marshall Lundberg. He's an old friend of ours from skateboarding days, and he's an artist, and we've known him forever, it seems like. Do you know Marshall, Stephanie? Was Marshall a Grand Ledge kid? He might not have been.
I don't think I ever met him.
Okay. Actually, I don't know if he was Grand Ledge. He might have been Lansing or something. But anyways, he's going to come on and talk about how to start a window cleaning business for less than $50. So a little bit of capitalism in there, I think. But what question would you like to ask Marshall?
Yeah, go ahead, Alyssa.
Yeah, I think we were brainstorming a little bit, and I think the big question is, what has been your proudest achievement so far in your life?
And I think that's always a good question. I think, you know, pride gets a bad rap because it's a sin or something like that. But being proud of what you're doing, I mean, some of the early definitions of just the word quality were the pride of the master craftsman. And, you know, we need pride. We need to be able to have it helps build dignity and stuff like that. So I'm glad that you're asking this question. And since you're asking it, I get to ask you it. And I'll start with Stephanie. What's the proudest thing you've ever done in your life? What a huge question, Alyssa.
It is big. And it's so easy for me to say nothing. I've done nothing.
Western.
No, I'm proudest of the fact that no matter how dark things seem to be, I always get back up. I'm always able to get back up on my feet, and I'm proudest of my sobriety, and that I'm in a position where I can help others right now. Yeah, I think that's what I'm proudest of today.
Thank you, Stephanie. What about you, Alyssa?
I would echo what Stephanie said. You know, being able to have enough of the support to maintain sobriety right now has been something that is incredibly challenging. But thankfully, with the support of many, I have been able to do this. And I also, there is one thing that I was able to do while I was still in my active addiction, but it was really hard. It would have been a lot easier if I wasn't in active addiction at the time, but I still accomplished it. And I was able to hold a show where community members told their story about living with mental illness. And it happened in November of 2018. I think actually it was like one of the last things I did before I really got treatment help. But I did this show at Wharton Center. And so we had like 12 community members come and share their story about living with mental illness. And it was part of an organization called This Is My Brave, which is one of my most favorite organizations with the Fledge as well. Of course, I'm really being truthful. I'm not just trying to butter you up. I really like the Fledge.
We've gotten to know each other. And I think you're authentic in that.
I am authentic.
Sure.
I promise this is me authentically saying that. But their whole thing is storytelling saves lives. And so I think that is something that I have really embodied. And so I'm proud of myself for embodying that message and being able to have the strength to talk about this publicly on the good.
See, I really believe that stories like that are so important, especially to help. I can't believe we're still in the phase where we're trying to erase stigma in our society, but that we are. I mean, people look at people with substance use disorder. We've got all kinds of horrible names for them, and we put them in jail, though they most of the time, I mean, not most of the time, it is an illness, it is an epidemic. It's not treated as a health problem, it's treated as a criminal problem, especially if you're Black or a person of color. There's just that we're still in that phase where we still have to do awareness on stigma is a little frustrating to me. But I'll tell you right now, here's two amazing people that are doing amazing things, that their genius, their creativity, and their innovation could have been lost in addiction. It could have been lost in an overdose. And I'm proud of you for being here and being whatever day you are on. Even the ones out there today on day one, it's a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, and you just got to keep trying and just staying alive and just keep connected, keep checking on each other, keep loving each other.
There's an old adage in the recovery community. It says, "Never quit quitting." That's, and I don't know if I've shared this or not, but I just am so inspired by your ability to keep Daniela alive by participating in these things. I think that is such a beautiful testament to her legacy. And so, I don't want to cause you to feel uncomfortable, but I just wanted to say that I really admire you for that. And I think that is just really special.
I think it's important to know that people with substance use disorder are mothers and daughters and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and friends. And even, you might pass someone on the road up on Kalamazoo and they're struggling. They're probably addicted to heroin, and they're probably, a lot of bad things going on. They are somebody's brother and sister and mother and all of these things. And this is happening to all of us. And now I'm going to go into my whole Purdue Pharmaceuticals and all that. So I'll take a time out on myself and turn it back to you two. What's something, either one of you, if you want to decide, or both of you, what would you like to take us out with?
For me, I would like to say, it would be so easy as a person that has been fortunate enough to see my addictions for what they are, and I feel so lucky. I feel so incredibly lucky and grateful that I was able to come out the other side of it so that I can have that compassion for others. And I feel that, it would be so easy to be judgmental on just like the people that you're talking about, Jerry, like people with substance abuse issues. And it is so easy to be judgmental or look away, turn a blind eye, or to be hateful. But it feels a lot better to be compassionate and to be able to look at myself with compassion and then look at others with that same compassionate eye. And for anyone that is interested, even if, it doesn't have to be with drugs or alcohol, it could just be a codependency issue or a food issue or social media or anything that you're struggling with, you can feel free that just to know that there's a community here for you.
Thank you, Stephanie. You want to add to that, Alyssa?
Yeah, I would. I really appreciated what Stephanie said, and I will just add that, you know, if you're a person watching this and you're afraid and you don't know what the next step to do is, I would just say, you know, go easy on yourself. There are a lot of things happening in the world right now, and this isn't me, you know, condoning the use of substance by any means, but I think the first step in being able to recognize that uh, your recovery journey is possible is knowing that you're worth that recovery. And so taking time to practice self-love, whatever that looks like to you, be it writing yourself a letter or like looking in the mirror and saying, I am strong. It sounds cheesy, but it does help change your brain, and um, it helps you see your value. And so recognizing your value and knowing that you are worth what recovery gives. And if you're not in the place in your life where you're ready to give up substances completely, you're still welcome to attend the meetings. Obviously, we ask that you don't attend meetings while you're currently intoxicated. I don't know if that's actually a formal rule or not, um, but you know, you are still welcome. Explore, check out what your options are. If Refuge Recovery isn't the right one for you, there are so many different organizations out there who offer recovery help. And so, you know, as I said, never quit quitting. That would be my takeaway.
Yeah, those both of you have such wise words there, and thank you so much for offering it out there. And I just want to offer one other quick thing too. If you are still using, we have Narcan at the Fledge. Get some Narcan around you. Don't use alone, and don't give up hope. You can do this. You can get through this, but you got to be alive tomorrow to do it. So thank you so very much for what you're doing. So everyone stay tuned for Every Damn Day tomorrow, and I will see you later. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.